What is going on, guys? Today we got a little bit of a different video. I picked up these early Mk1 Audi TT control arms on the cheap, about 40 bucks, but they're like super rusted. So I'm going to be making this video today going over how I'm going to go about restoring these. I looked it up on YouTube and there's about a million ways to do this, but these are pretty rusted, so I did kind of a hybrid between two videos that I'm getting this information from. You might be asking yourself, if you have an R32, why am I converting to early Mk1 TT control arms? Well, the answer is this nub right here. There's two ways to go about having a front sway bar when you have a bagged R32. The way that I found to be the easiest is to run a GTI end link setup while running an R32 style front sway bar. So we're going to do a video later on that, but essentially I had some nubs made for pretty cheap that I was going to weld onto the other control arms, but I'm thinking this is going to be the easier route where I can just drill and tap this nub right here to be able to use a GTI style end link. So let's go over what I got to be able to do this. First up, we got some wire brushes and wire wheels from Harbor Freight, pretty cheap. I think this all is all about like $3 or something like that. Next up, we got some acetone to clean it after we get all that rust off. Then I found this. I'm going to give it a shot. It's Duplicolor Rust Fix. It's kind of like a paint over rust situation, except for I'm going to try and clean up as much rust as possible. I'm going to finish it off with some Duplicolor engine enamel. It's like a couple thick coats. And then of course, like gloves and safety glasses so you don't get any of this crap on your hands or your eyes. Alright, so first things first, we're going to wire brush these things up as much as we can with this to get the big stuff off, and then I'm going to take the wire wheel and run it across the whole thing to get everything else. Alright, next up, I started cleaning it. Now that all the rust has been brushed off, I sprayed them off and then I'm soaking them in some Simple Green. I'm going to rinse it again. This is dishwasher soap, like dish soap and water, and I'm gonna scrub it down and then rinse it off again, and then I am going to wipe it down with the acetone. So far so good. So now I dried these things off. This is where your gloves are going to come in handy. I'm going to pour some acetone on my cloth and then wipe these down. Alright. Next up, I'm going to tape off the surface where the ball joint comes in contact with the control arm. Don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be like a nice flat paint-free surface so your ball joint can mount flush. Not 100% on that, but since these come machined, I'm gonna go ahead and tape them off. Alright, so these are all taped up now, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with that rust over paint. I'm gonna do it says 2 light coats, and wait like 2 minutes between each coat. And then I think I'm going to let that fully dry overnight and then come back in the morning and do the engine enamel. Alright, one more coat. What's weird is that this stuff sprays on clear, so I don't know, strange. Alright, now that those 2 coats are done, I have to let this dry for 24 hours before I do that top coat. So that's going to be it for now. I'm going to go inside and have dinner and go to sleep. Come back in the morning and see what's going on. Alright, so these have had a chance to dry overnight. And it sprays on clear, and I guess it dries black. Or black-ish. At least in all the areas where there was rust. Way better than what it was. I mean, you could probably like put these in the car the way it is, but I already bought the stuff. And while we're in there, might as well just finish it up. I'm going to spray on that black engine enamel now. And probably do 2 or 3 coats of that. And then call it good. Okay, so I read the instructions and I changed my mind. I'm gonna do 2 very light coats followed by 1 thick coat. I should also say that these bushings are totally shot, and so you're gonna see me painting over them, but if you had good bushings, you obviously should be masking those off so you don't get spray paint where you don't need to. Alright, now it's time for the last layer, so I'm gonna put it on nice and thick, and hopefully this little project will have been worth the 30 bucks that it cost to do it. Alright, so I'm gonna let this dry overnight again, I guess. Didn't really plan on this being a 3-day project, but I guess it is. If there are runs, I'm not too concerned about it. Really the goal is to just make them not rusty. I think I probably have accomplished that. It's not going to be very smooth, but protected was the goal I had in mind, so this should cut it. Alright, so these have had a chance to dry overnight, and I'm pretty happy to say they turned out really well. So it's got like a nice sort of semi-gloss finish, and it feels like smooth. It's hard to describe, but it's not like crusty anymore. Like, it just feels nice. Pulled the tape off. Tape was easy to pull off. And yeah, so now these are ready to get new bushings, and I'm gonna drill and tap that nub on the end, and I should hopefully be able to run a front sway bar soon enough. I hope this video helped you guys on how to like restore parts like that. I mean, it's not like a full restoration, but like honestly, it's miles above what it was, and I'm sure these are gonna last like the life of the vehicle now. So this is sort of like more like attention to detail stuff. Like when we talk about while you're in there, you might as well do something like that. Like when we were doing the rear sway bar install, like we found some rust, you know, hit it with a wire brush and took care of it like as you see it. But that's just like, I think like the details that are gonna make your car last longer and overall make it like, you know, a better car. So Brian and I sort of think that those taking the time to do that extra stuff is important, and I think it's little stuff like this that makes your, you know, your build or, you know, the quality of your car overall higher than what it would be. Alright, so I hope you guys like this video. You know, let me know what you think in the comments below, and as always, like and subscribe and that kind of stuff. So I'll see you guys in the next one.